Welcome, everyone. Good to be with you all today. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge this is the 8th day of Navratri this year, and if you're celebrating with us in our other Navratri event, you are experiencing lots of the Devi's blessings, and we're now in that time of Navratri, this 9-day celebration of the goddess, where we're honoring Saraswati, and she is the goddess of learning, of enlightenment, this very journey that we're on with Bhaja Govindam. And I wanted to just especially acknowledge that we are very grateful for this knowledge and very grateful for this wisdom today and all days. Please join me in chanting our prayers, our opening invocation. Om Narayana Samarambham Vyasa Shankara Uttamam Shanti Prakashaya Adimam Ayodhyanataya Madhyamam Shunyacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. For those of you who are new and joining just today, this opening invocation, this opening prayer says salutation to our Vedic wisdom lineage, starting with the ultimate divinity, Narayana. Also, we're referring to Govinda, also Brahman, followed by excellent teachers who gave the Vedic scriptures, Acharya and Shankaracharya, and Adi Shankaracharya is the author of this text. Followed by teachers of the scriptures, Shanti Prakashaya, and who came first, and that's our Badi Baba, you can see up there, followed by Ayodhya Natacharya, or Baba, right there, and continuing all the way up to our immediate teacher, Acharya Shunya, in the present day today. I think exploring lineage and being grateful for lineage has really been a key theme of the recent teachings that Acharya Shunya has been giving from Bhaja Govindam, where we're talking about the power and importance of satsang. So today, Acharya Shunya will not be joining us and on this Ashtami day, but she's asked that we have a conversation amongst us, amongst our satsang, about both, partially about the satsang. What are we experiencing from this? Because as we've been exploring recently, both in verse 9, where we understand that from satsanga, the company of good people, comes non-attachment, and from non-attachment comes freedom from delusion, which then leads to self-settledness. How are we feeling self-settled? And then from that self-settledness comes jivan mukti, or that liberation that we're seeking. And then recently, I observed that we were just talking about verse 13, where Adi Shankaracharya tells us, "Oh, madman, why this engrossment in thoughts of wealth? Is there no one to guide you? There's only one thing in 3 worlds that can save you from the ocean of samsara. Get into the boat of satsang, company of good people, quickly." So I thought that would be a great jumping off point to sharing what we're all experiencing. How are these Bhaja Govindam teachings landing for you? And what are you experiencing and learning and noticing about being in the company of wise people, or if you're feeling like you're not in the company of wise people, or if those areas where you are seeing where your company is not in wise people, and what the impact of that has been on your consciousness. So I'm not here to teach. I'm here as a fellow student of this path, and I will just maybe kick us off with saying that I've been really appreciating, one of the things that I appreciate most about this Navratri celebration within a Advaita or non-dual lineage is that it connects me with this path of yoga, that it really connects me in a very visceral and meaningful way, both with, on a impact, a physical impact level of like, oh, I'm fasting or I'm changing the way I'm eating. So I'm observing that like I'm changing my consciousness there, but also in both my internal state of meditating and connecting with the Devi and connecting with an intentional archetype every day, but also just being in community with other people is so impactful. And these Thursday mornings have been very impactful for shifting my consciousness. And I've been really appreciating the urgency of Bhaja Govindam and how it's really like that Mudgara, the hammer to our unconsciousness, and I'm feeling that a lot. Um, so that's where I'm sitting with these. I'm enjoying them, but I'm also experiencing the spiritual urgency of these teachings, and that's coming through for me, and I'm appreciating that. And I'm really appreciating being with you all every week. I'd like to open it up. Yes. And in fact, everyone can unmute themselves. So we're all on this one together. But I see Jayanti Marinella has raised her hand.
Hi, Jaima. Hi, everyone. You just said something, Aparna, that brought me back to yesterday's Navaratri session. And I wrote it down when Acharya Shunya said, talking about Kalaratri, she said, when we face reality, it is the end of attachment. And you just said something about Adi Shankaracharya constantly reminding us to wake up to reality, not the samsara, but waking us up with this hammer saying, you fool, you madman, why are you wasting your time amassing wealth or learning Sanskrit or doing all these things? And last night, for me, it was night. I'm in Italy currently. When she said that, it brought me back to the Bhaja Govindam. I said, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, reality. Because at first it might seem that reality is this world we're living in. And I thought, wait a minute, attachment. Yeah, there is so much attachment to this world. But then I thought, no, this is a different reality she's talking about. So, and you just said, that even at Navratri, she's bringing this non-dual aspect with the Devi. So yeah, I can see that. Thank you.
Yeah, that piece around non-attachment, that vairagyam is like this thread that just, it's the sutra through Bhaja Govindam for me, is that vairagyam or detachment and waking up to it. Anne Marie, did you want to share next?
Yes. So it's interesting. Somehow I'm super attracted to Adi Shankaracharya's teachings, and also with the Nirvana Shatakam. And I just started with Ishani, and I listened to an old text from November from Acharya Shunya, and somehow I that attachment, I'm really looking at my attachment, but what I notice is that I'm looking at the shadow side, like the dark side, like what are the things that you're not necessarily wanting to face. And so it's it's a little bit a long thread, but I'm going to get to the sanghas. So I thought, okay, there's one thing, and it is somehow I noticed, let's say jealousy. So when I see, somebody in a line of business posting things or whatever, and then I kind of feel this sense of jealousy that doesn't really, that I don't really like, right? And so I was looking into it. I'm like, okay, what is it? How can I, let it go and just look at it differently? But today it resonated with me that somehow it also has to do with mirroring, right? Because what happens in your environment, it kind of you kind of set the stage for your environment, right? Like my energy feeds off of the people around me, and I encounter things that somehow are supposed to be for me, I guess, right? And for me to learn. And so if I'm mirroring, then we can go on about it. But let's say somebody is doing what I want to be doing or something like that. But that's not really the point. The point is more that when I would surround myself only with good people, right? Then I kind of stop my Instagram and stop my easier, like you're not being confronted with situations that kind of bother you, and so I relate, with the fact that a good group of people to discuss. Not only can you learn more, but kind of everyone's energy feeds. You can kind of feed you also. Like you can feed others, and others can feed you. But so it kind of got me thinking a little bit about so I understand the necessity of finding a good sangat, kind of, because we're all householders here, right? We're not sitting in the Himalayas and waiting for realization over there. So we were like in the middle of life, getting it with our attachments, or although they might become less, we have so many to discover from ourselves, I guess. So anyway, that's a thought that was going through my head today, contemplating about the theory, and what I like about the Bhaja Govindam in this one is that somehow the vibration of the text, it just really, it comes in my heart. Like I can listen to many things, but this really comes into my heart, and also the fact that he repeats everything makes it so easy, because then you get time to contemplate while you're listening, right? And so I find that very very helpful. It's just very appealing, and also to engage, like he keeps saying to engage. Like if you engage, that's the way to go. And I can it resonates really with me to engage. And so I thank you all for being able to engage with you all.
Thank you. Ishani, did you want to?
What an opportunity. This is great to get to have a moment to discuss with each other. I'm appreciating this. There's so many things in this text, but Aparna, I love that you highlighted verse 9 about satsanga. And the line I have kind of double underlined here in my notebook is when she said that samsara, it's not holding on to you, you're holding on to it. And that really helped shift something for me, because I think in so much of this contemplation and such a theme, especially in this neti process of like, not that, not that, not that, we're rightly identifying all these like desires to let go of, identities to cast off. We're looking at our attachments and we're trying to let go of our attachments. And sometimes it can feel like the attachments are like bigger than me, like the attachments are pulling me. It's the attachments that are sticky. And that simple reminder that samsara is not like glomming onto me, but I'm glomming onto it in subtle ways. And so that one line helped get my thinking right around attachments and shrink them down to the size they're meant to be, which is the power is back with me. I'm giving them power by attaching, and it's not like I have to they don't have to do anything. I just have to release them. And so a corollary part of that, they're not holding onto you, you're holding onto them. So it's a holding. It's not like a sticky suffocation. It's just my hand is wrapped around it, and I just have to open my palm, and then it doesn't have any power over me anymore. So I've been kind of shining that light. When I discover an attachment, I shine that. Okay, how does this attachment feel now if I shine this awareness of kind of relationship with it, and it softens. So that's been really interesting. And then with connecting that with what you were saying, Aparna, about and what everyone's been saying about satsang, of the other one of the many amazing functions that satsanga has for me is when I forget that the power is with me and the attachments are actually powerless. They're all the things I'm attached to have their power and strength because of the self, because of my holding on to them. Being in satsanga is a nice in between where I see the collective energy, the collective power, the collective bigness. When I'm in satsanga, I'm reminded of my individual bigness because it's like we're actually literally combining ours together. And that for me has a connection with this idea of the attachments are not so big and powerful and scary. It's in my capacity to simply stop holding them. And being in satsanga reminds me that we actually have this collective power, because I see so much power and agency when I look around in this little Zoom room. So those are some contemplations I've been having right now. It's really a joy to share them. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Ashani. Arya, I saw that you have unmuted yourself. Did you want to share?
Oh, well, you suggested everyone unmute themselves, and
I mean, if you want to share, unmute yourself.
Well, I of course, this is a lovely opportunity, and I greet everyone. I hope everyone is well. Shani's comment was such common sense that we sort of forget it, that really the power of creating our whole life lies in our hands, much less what we decide to be attached to. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that observation. Yeah.
Arjuna?
Yeah, good morning, everybody, or evening, or wherever you are. Good everything. So when you read that quote, Aparna, where is the quote from? I can't see it.
It's from the handout. It's from the handout that we received at the beginning of the class with all of the details. And I want to encourage everybody to, you don't have to make your own little notebook, but if you'd like to, you can. But there's a lot. There's both the Sanskrit, the transliteration, and a quick definition, or a quick translation, English translation of each verse. So it's a helpful going back and forth.
Thank you. Yeah. As you probably know by now, my emails are so scattered and unfindable. So if there's any way to get a link for that again, that would be really helpful. But what I want to say about the quote is that, and also connected with what Ishani said, and I'm not sure how articulate this is going to be, what I become aware of is that how often I go outside of myself as if the answer is out there somewhere, as if what I need is out there. And these are old habits. It's not something that started today or yesterday, but they really go deeper. And as we're getting further into Bhaja Govindam and all the other studies and practices that I do, I'm just becoming more aware that the boat the boat of satsanga is actually also in here already. Like I'm jumping ship is what I'm saying, to go out there and to like, oh, I want to be like that. Why don't I have that? And all, it's just that's like attaching to samsara to me. That's jumping into this sea of samsara and drowning, actually, which I did for many years, but I'm not doing that now. And picking up these subtle moments of how I leave this whole, this unity, which is part of the greater unity of everything. Ishwara is here. I am that. It's just very settling. It's just very yeah, it's just very settling. So it's a different take on samsara, satsanga. I mean, it's a different take on it from this group, but there's another boat of satsanga that stay in it, stay in that place of alreadiness. I am already that. I don't have to go anywhere. So thank you for yeah. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank Acharya Shunya.
Being in the company of the wise person is also, that's satsang, and it also means being in the company of the guru, and then being in the company of the wisdom.
Yeah.
And then ultimately being in the company of our own inner guru, which is
right.
innership.
Yeah, that's thank you for articulating. That helps further explaining what I'm wanting to say.
Yeah. Thank you. Also, just sidebar, Arjuna, and anyone else who needs it, it looks like Ashani has left in the chat. You can find a link.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
And Maria, would you like to share?
Just going off of what Ishani and Arjuna have said, what I've just been thinking about in contemplation is the freedom that this is a moment to moment choice that we have to shift our thoughts, to go inward, to have these thoughts, that this attachment, that this samsara is product of my ego, my mind, my buddhi, my intellect, and it's not me. It's not my Atma. And to me, that's just been so really powerful lately, thinking about the refrain, even just going back to the beginning of repeat, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, just keep coming back. And sometimes my ego will get into this, guilt and shaming, and oh, you're on this spiritual path. What do you mean you're so attached to what have you? Why are you stuck in this samsara so much right now? And then I have to just, and of course there's societal messaging about quote unquote success, and if you're, and if your emotions are accordingly with what you're studying, what you're doing. And I have to just keep reminding, when that happens, I just remind myself, like, okay, there, that it's a journey. There's so much of deconditioning, to what Arjuna was saying, so much of these samskaras, these impressions, these grooves, and this takes time. It's a journey. There are lifetimes of it that we're deconditioning our minds from, and that it's okay. We're just coming back. And then sometimes I'll write it down. Well, just a reminder, I was able to shift my thought as a reminder that I am making, slow but making some steady progress on the path, little by little. And I think for me, the power of satsang is to make those impressions, those grooves, those habits, to help them to clear more quickly, the more, whether it's Shunyaji by example. And then I remind myself too, that she is also, and she's shared about, her own, that it's, moment to moment. I know at one point she had said about, checking her desires and are they strong, too strong and such. So that, that relief that, okay, she's on this journey too. And then, also just it's like the satsang it's these reminders, and the more that I hear them, the more just even subconsciously that remembering is growing stronger, and making it more likely that uh of course, in addition to mananam and such now in the Nididhyasanam, but just hearing it over and over again, it's strengthening that conviction, that shraddha, and that is thereby leading to a more frequent remembrance, and a more it's more in there in the surface of the muck to remember, to be able to step back and to get out of it more frequently and or more quickly. And then of course, there's just the different color, right? There are all these beautiful threads, that, and this beautiful imagery and such that is used to convey this knowledge. And again, just the more ways of hearing it, the more settled, the more it takes root.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Yeah, I'm grateful to be part, to take it back to the lineage. I'm grateful to be part of a lineage and drawn to and have found a teacher that is an Acharya, one who's also walking this path. This is really, it's the way that I also, just as you shared, like even seeing or hearing Acharya Shunya share of her experiences, and that walking the same path is so powerful. Oh, there's, I can do these moment to moment shifts. I can make these moment to moment changes, and I can see that it's been done before. Thank you. We have a share on the chat. I'll read out. Jay Ma, nice to be in satsanga with you all, says Janya. Apologies that I can't share on camera vocally, as I am in a hotel room with a sleeping daughter. This fact actually has me reflecting on satsanga in our modern times. It isn't so much about sitting together in the same physical space, rather about sharing time together in truth, no matter where we are on the globe. This is truly a gift of the digital age, that we can come together from all over the world to listen to and learn from our teacher. While I've previously felt lonely not being physically next to fellow shishyas or students, I am so grateful to be in the inner company of my higher self while listening with you all. The fact that I am physically alone often while listening to the teachings in satsang has allowed my ego to stop grasping and to anchor into the truth of the teachings. Deborah, did you want to share?
Yes, thank you. I really wanted to thank Ashani and everyone for their shares, because I'm been in this place of feeling really stuck in this deep well of grief. And so I've been asking myself, what do I get from this? What do I get from being stuck, from being married to my story, to my trauma, my past trauma, which is real, and all the loss, and everything's been real, but it's not real in this moment. What's real is how glued I have been to this story. And being stuck in this story of me, mine. And so being reminded that the power is within me. And even though I've been telling myself that, for some reason, the satsanga and hearing it from someone else is just, it is really helping to hear that and really helping me, reminding me that the whole Vedic way is an inside job, and that I can ask, who is running the show here? Is it my ego, or do I have a choice to let someone else be the MC of the affair of my life? And so being in satsang really has been so incredibly important for me in helping me to shift, to see a little glimmer of light and to think that, oh, that's right, we're all on this boat. We all can have the power of choosing to be a little bit different. And of course, being in the company, as you said, of our guru and the reminder of the inner guru, it just brings it back to me that, with Bhaja Govindam, that this whole story and everything, it's impervious to time. Time's going to have the last laugh. That's the urgency that I feel. That's even just being allowed to share this, I feel it lightening inside instead of just identifying with it over and over and over again. Just being to share. I'm so grateful to all of you for the lessons and the insights that I get from this. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deborah. And that's entirely mutual. You've given me some beautiful insights, especially the last several months. And I'm really grateful for you in satsang.
I just would say that thank you so much for that, Deborah. I would just say that the phrase "stuck in the story" is so pertinent, because what story are we stuck in? I mean, there's a much bigger story going on that when we lose ourselves from our individual tiny little story, even though it feels so big and taken over so much of our lives, we get into the really big story of growth and of change. And this is like getting into the boat of satsang, It's very powerful what you just said. I just want to say, I really came into this whole world of the Vedas and through Acharya Shunya, sending me and my wife to a Ayurvedic hospital in India when I was in a horrible, I was hit by a taxi cab, run over by a taxi cab. And going to that hospital was the first experience I had of Ayurveda. And one of the doctors at the hospital I respect so much, he says something very simple. He says, you're either living in an I world or a we world. Which are you living in, an I world or a we world? And that is such a deep, simple, beautiful directive about, where to put our energy. So a we world is satsang. A we world is living in the company of growth, so yes, I just want to say that because the other part of it was this profound effect that learning about Ayurveda had on me is that this is all growing. It's all one. We're part of something much, 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 much bigger. And that, loosening from being stuck in the story is like getting into the river, rather than just holding on to the land. It's really like just going into what already is, So I just really appreciated what you just said, and the opportunity to share like this too.
You know, there's something, Deborah, you said that brought back this kind of little thought I have from Anne Marie's share, which is this idea of like, Anne Marie, you were describing how essentially how the algorithm can shape your, it can shape like what you experience and show you, and this idea of like, we have this kind of idea of like we're presented with reality as something that is a consequence of our, of our prior actions, and we have this prarabdha karma idea, and then there's this overlay of this algorithm. And that on our Instagram, what are we presented with? Well, it's the things that we keep looking at, right? And then it so helpfully creates an artificial sangha for us, right? Like you've looked at this once, and now here's a whole bunch of other things here. Here's the world providing an artificial sangha for you of like, here's this thing you need to buy, and that, and then we have this opportunity and this whole other way to choose. Like to choose, as Deborah said, of like, what are we choosing? Which satsanga are we? Are we going to choose sangha, an unconscious sangha, or are we going to choose a satsanga? And that there's like this choice is ours. The choice to like what are we bringing ourselves back to? Which sangha will we choose? It's just a thought. Anne Marie, would you like to share?
Yes, actually, that's an interesting question. Which sangha are we willing to choose? And you use the word consciousness and unconsciousness. And I like what Arjuna said about the I world and the real world. I actually just in the last 2 weeks starting to look at my own family as a sangha. And although that Deborah said, okay, the big way is kind of like an inner job, but yes, on the one hand it is, but here we were presented with the world around us, and for me it was very helpful to all of a sudden look at my family, like my relationship with my husband, as a sangha, although maybe it's not as conscious one, like in a sense, like we have our own journey, but it's helpful to approach it as a sangat, right? As a unity, as a real world, actually. And so, to that extent, I understand that what we mean with satsanga is you choose a company of like-minded people and conscious people to elevate yourself. But it's interesting if you look at attachment and non-attachment and at the people around you, and you kind of see them more as we instead of I. I feel that helps a lot too. I don't know, just I don't know if it makes sense. But...
Jayanti?
I just wanted, just following this thread, I, we, and what Anne Marie just said is, it's like more, to me, it's like relating to, she talked about looking at the family as a sangha or her husband as a sangha. And so maybe I'm wrong, but the idea of satsang is be in the company of wise people. So people who have wisdom, so like the guru that have the light so that we can see that light. And so now I just thought, so when we are in the company, in the sangha with people like us, we're not enlightened or anything, or I'm not, don't way close to that, but what if we then, now we connect with bhakti and bring Ishvara in there, like, Acharya Shunya has been teaching us that sometimes people we live with, even in the family, they might irritate us, violate our boundaries. And so if we want to create now this other type of sangha, how do we create that in a way that we remain connected to the ultimate truth? So instead of perhaps saying, oh, my brother is annoying, you know, I don't want to talk to him or stuff like that. What if now I bring the Ishvara aspect there, saying, okay, yes, my brother is annoying, but deep down, I don't know if I'm making myself clear. I want to connect through my brother. I want to connect with Ishvara through my brother, where, you know, yes, he's annoying, but I won't allow that to shake me or make me upset, because I can still see Ishvara in him. And he's just, you know, I'm just engaging his ego when I find him annoying, but there's more to that. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. This is just something that came to me just listening to this thread where, okay, we're creating a sangha. There is a satsang with wise people, but then there's another, now it seems like we're talking a different type of sangha where we're relating to people like us. And so to make it worthy, I guess, to see something not worthy, to learn even something from this other type of sangha, what if we bring the concept of Ishvara in there? I don't know. It's just something that I'm churning right now.
Yeah. I mean, I have some thoughts on that.
Please share then.
I have a few thoughts on that. Now, again, not this is like absolute. This is the way it is, but you know, even in our, you know, Bhaja Govindam, what he's talking about, even prior to the part about how do we get out of this? You know, what he's talking about is you're in these relationships with your spouse. You're in these relationships with your son, with your wife, your daughter, your child, your parents. You're in all of these relationships. And that's still not going to get you out of this. So our attachment to holding, like we can want, like just, I would say observe our desire, observe your desire to make those same relationships to somehow be equivalent to the relationship with truth. And if you are seeing that, what it comes to is like that might be yet another attachment, another way that we're holding on. Oh, well, maybe I can make this relationship. This relationship can be my relationship of truth, and therefore I can make this whole place a heaven on earth. Yes, Ishvara is everywhere, but I believe what I'm getting from what Adi Shankaracharya is saying is like, even this is an illusion. Even this is not the thing that's going to get you out of it. And this whole 13 verses, you got all that, okay? But none of all of the 12 verses that came before, all of these things, and he goes through and he lays out all of the things that's not going to get you to self-realization. That's not, you know, this is the hammer, right? The hammer of like, nope. You can still love them. You can still have them in your life. You can still have all these, but is that going to do it? Nope. There's only one thing that's going to do it. You got it. This is only one thing. So what, you know, so just, I think in those things for myself, of those areas in my life where I'm holding on to a desire for it to be different than it is, or a desire for this to provide this is going to give me meaning. This is going to give me fulfillment. This is going to give me, and those desires have sort of, you know, they've purified, they look prettier, they look more elevated, and still, they're still that's still me holding on to maybe a more sattvic relationship with the world as it is, but but it's still me and mine, holding on to me and mine, which isn't to negate the value of the lived experience of like, I'm in a relationship with someone here and I really like that relationship, and that's not going to get me to self-realization. That's just what I'm thinking. So putting that up.
Talking about the value of a satsang, huh? Thank you so much, Aparna. That was really helpful, actually, in my contemplations these last few weeks. Thank you. A nice hammer.
Awesome.
I was also thinking about being stuck in the story of your life. And I think relationships are a big part of it. Like we create that story ourselves because the people in our lives, some we get on really well, the others just bothers us, some we kind of hate, and some makes us angry. And it's a whole package. I mean, if you're trying to change your relationships, make something better, it never works. And it comes to the point that, you know, if this spiritual learning and awakening is a kind of urgency, we're just wasting our time, you know. And I realized I was lying to myself for such a long time, just going out to find things, and even spirituality was a part of it. Because when I went deep inside, I saw that I wanted to learn more and more scriptures, more I don't know. It was just something that I needed to satisfy myself or recreate my story. Because I think the hardest part is just going inside. As Ishani was saying, we're just holding on to samsara. Samsara has nothing to do with us. I mean, we're just grabbing a handful of sand, as Shunyaji says, and it's not possible. Every time we open our palms, actually it's empty, but still letting go and opening those palms is the hardest thing. So yeah, I'm thinking about the urgency of satsang, and it should be the priority. Yeah.
Thank you, Aslam. Just to clarify, we have a couple shares, and just to clarify, Jayanti, you're absolutely right that like seeing the world as Ishvara is how we're gonna, you know, that is the way we work with our own ego. But expecting the world to be different, even though we see it that way, is what I was kind of alluding to, or that's starting on that. So I hope that was clear. Yes, you're absolutely, yeah, that's the job, but also expecting it to be different is, you know, that might be the illusion. We have a few more shares. Janya shares, yes, Jayanti, you're clear, and I appreciate the invitation to bring bhakti to our familial relationships too. This is nididhyasanam. And appreciate also that even in bringing consciousness to these relationships as an escape hatch can be a desirous trap of attachment. And Marcus shares, thank you so much for all of your shares. And yes, Deborah, so much of what you share resonates in my heart. It feels paralyzing when we get stuck in our stories, and in satsang, the questions and churning of others helps me move out of my own stories. We're all in it. Knowing and hearing others helps me embrace the wonderful Bhaja Govindam's deep lessons. I often let wash over me the verses week by week and stay in that energy. This somewhere silences my mind, and I start observing without questioning. These moments humble me and make me grateful for being in this satsang. America. Thomas, Soham.
Hi, everyone. Great to be with you this morning. I was just moved to share a bit about what gets speaking to bhakti, and the realization, it all ties in, but the realization that I'm beginning to realize or deepen my daily understanding of the situation we're actually all in, which is we're living within Ishvara, and none of this is mine. This isn't mine. I didn't make this. I didn't make any of the food that I eat. I didn't make any of the processes that make the body work. I did nothing, and I do nothing. And I'm realizing, as I'm deepening that realization and awareness, what's the will? What's the desire? Whose is that? And I'm choosing through bhakti to find that God's desire in me is what I'm expressing. This is what, so it ends up being like, this is from sort of chapter 9 in Bhagavad Gita, where if everything is sort of aligning with attachment, trying to push the world away, but also realize then there's no need to push the world away if I realize what it is. And if I'm in alignment with Ishwara's will and playing with it, it's a big thing that I'm not sure I can articulate as well as it seems in my head at times. But the idea that this isn't mine, that is really deepening my experience with reality and with all of the, it's not that the ego's desires are present. And I think that's an important distinction. I've realized whose desire is the ego's versus the, you know, that is a whole yoga thing. There's a lot there, but I think mostly to ground this, I'm loving the integration of all of the bhakti teaching and the wisdom teaching and everything to bring in the visceral experience of living in alignment with God and at one with God, and deepening the continuation of understanding who I actually am in all of this play. And that continues to diminish the I, the ego participation in any of the events. And it feels like it's beginning to open and flow a lot more to being in the stream of Ishwara's will rather than my will. And it's a journey, of course. But anyway, that I love that it's all swirling and combining and coming together, and it feels like it's coagulating into, coalescing into to a reality of experience. So.
Arjuna, did you want to share?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Soham, thank you for that. It made me think of how I never really understood, or my understanding was very thin about Dharma, what Dharma is, until, I don't know, I guess it was a number of years ago, and some satsang that Shunya was talking about Dharma, and she said it as that which sustains. And that really stuck with me about that which sustains. So I've understood that to be what I do that sustains this in the best possible way so that I can sustain that, which is, the greater good. So I can bring sukha into the world rather than dukkha into the world, so that I'm a vehicle for something. I'm really just more and more realizing, where do ideas come from? Creative ideas. I didn't make them up. Edison didn't make up the light bulb. It came through him. Marie Curie, it comes through us. So if it's coming through us, going back to this whole thing about, getting into the river, it just tunes me into the contribution, and we're doing it right now, the contribution we all make to the greater good. So the value of satsang is this contribution, that in this boat, that we're all nourishing each other in this process, and to have a teacher who is living the work herself in a very down-to-earth, real, sometimes very humorous way, is an incredible gift. It's just an amazing gift, really. It chokes me up to even say it and think about it. So I think I understood what you were saying, Soham, or that's how I understood it, that why are we here, all together?
I'm not so sure what I was saying either, but like I felt I should say it anyway. So
well, you did, and it sparked another fire in another corner of the boat here. So, thank you,
Jeremy. Would you like to share?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. I know some of you, and I'm probably pretty new face to a lot of you. I came to Acharya Shunya through Janya, and she sends me videos, and I've watched her videos. I've been with her in person. I've been with her teachings, and I saw the Bhaja Govindam teaching that Ishani was referencing, where she Shunyaji said, samsara is not holding on to you, you are holding on to it, right? You are grasping it. And that was profound for me as well. So thank you for bringing that up again. And it seems like, and also I was thinking about the concept of moha, and how moha, it's the prison. Samsara essentially is a prison of our own making, right? And then so moha, I feel like the more moha you have, the more supermax that prison becomes for not only them, but for the people around them. They're helping to build a giant prison. Like the people who are deep in delusion are think that this prison is the place to be, and they want everyone, to be in it as well. So we're fighting our own prison, and we're talking about the I, we. There's also the prison that others are creating out of moha. I come from a background of Buddhism, so a lot of these concepts are new. A lot of them are very familiar to me, and it's the teachings have also inspired new thought, reignited my spiritual curiosity. And I've been asking AI a lot of questions about Buddhism versus Advaita Vedanta, and where the differences lie, and then looking at the Buddhist teachings, and I'm not so much questioning them, but maybe recontextualizing them, and finding that there have been other teachers who have recontextualized things the way that I'm seeing things. It's making me see things different. It's helping me to see things differently now. And all these new teachings are it's so rich and so beautiful and so moving to me. And I'm really, I just joined today, and it's a blessing that I get to see you all talking and sharing, and I get to share and introduce myself. I'm hoping to come to more and more of these. And the last thing I wanted to say in that teaching at the end, Acharya Shunya said, I'm a happy camper. Remember, I loved that. I'm a happy camper, and I like being a happy camper because I can just pack it up and leave when I want. I mean, and I think that's kind of the core of what I want anyway. It's like, I want to be a happy camper. And I want to know that, okay, I'm good. I'm good now, but it's okay to be here as well. So thank you all for your shares. And I look forward to learning with you and growing with you, and being in this boat with you.
Thank you, Jeremy. You may especially enjoy the Bhakti Yoga teachings from the last year. I think that'll really, from what you were discussing, that'll really help you to kind of hone in on some of that difference and similarity that you're looking for. We're almost at the end of our time. Would anybody who hasn't been able to share, would you like to share? You're welcome to, even if it's just to say hello. No pressure. All right. With that, why don't we have our closing prayer? And today, let's do the closing prayer in honor of our teachers. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Om Shri Param Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Parameshtin Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gratitude to my teacher, to my teacher's teacher, and gratitude to the teacher of my teacher. Peace, peace, peace. Amen.